people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Disney Store Star Wars Elite Series Darth Vader. Now it says premium action figure. I want to say this replaced the old Elite Series maybe, the 7-inch metal figures that I never had much interest in. I did get the Grievous a while back. Absolutely hated it for the most part. But that may be just me spouting off nonsense because I don't know if it actually replaced that old line. It's weird to go from a 7-inch line to an 11-inch line. So maybe this is just another offshoot of the Elite series. Anyway, people have been suggesting that I get one of these. I thought I'd give it a try, especially after a buddy of mine got some during the Disney sale. I messed with his Princess Leia and it was kind of amazing. So he had extras. I grabbed his Leia, Vader, Rey, and Kylo Ren. So I'm gonna start with Vader, someone I don't have experience with yet. Packaging kind of reminds me of that 7-inch scale Elite line that Disney was doing, or still is doing, who knows, I don't know. The window pretty much shows you everything that's in the box. I like that. I like to know what I'm getting. On the side, more of the window, you can see the figure from the side. On the back is the story of the line and then a bio for Darth Vader. And then they kind of throw us a curveball and don't really show the whole figure in action poses. They just show his chest box and then the cape chain and then the lightsaber on and off. I guess I'm used to other action figure lines just plastering action shots all over the back of a box. On the other side's more window. On the bottom, absolutely nothing, kind of a granite look. And then on the top, same thing, but some window. So I'm gonna get this open, see what's going on here, and attempt to get most of it on camera because I'm still not used to dealing with figures this big. My setup isn't built for it, but let's give this a shot and see if it's worth opening the other three, even though I know Leia's already worth opening. And there we go, all out of the box. And while it's not all sunshine and rainbows, I do like this figure. It's a nice sculpt overall. I feel like the head may be just a tiny bit small. And from what I can see of the other figures, the heads seem to be kind of off, especially the ones with hair. Leia's hair is kind of too big. Rey's is kind of funky. And then Kylo Ren, I don't know if it's the hood and the bunched up scarf and everything else, but he just looks heavy up top. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on with this figure, but it all boils down to the cloth itself and then some of the decisions made for the extras, I guess. There's not a lot of paint here. There's a little gray on the upper chest piece, and there's the chest box and the belt boxes. And everything there, it's nice and clean. But staying for the cloth for a second, the cloth comes up over the chest armor, and I feel like that's more of a Rogue One, the first of a New Hope look. I'm good with that. It looks okay. You gotta kind of fiddle with it every now and then, every time you move the figure. Because I've left these plastic ties that attach the cape to here. And going back to that, in the package, this was tied to the box in several places. Twist ties, ties down, string running through, tying the figure to its position. But I left those here because it seems like if I cut those, the only thing holding the cape would be the chain, and I don't want all that dragging back and holding the chain, you know, against the neck like that, and then having a gap back here. So right now these plastic pieces are kind of holding it to the inner robe, which is kind of pulling the inner robe down every time the cape moves. The cloth comes down under the belt all the way down. This seems a little bit short. All the way down. I keep forgetting how big this figure is, so I can't just have it all on camera at the same time. I've got to move the figure as I go. This seems a little bit short. I don't know if it's supposed to be above the boots, but again, I'm okay with that. If you look, the string that they ran through, you can kind of see the holes. It left holes in the cape because it's not a material that just bunches back. And apparently I left a tie in there, but I'm going to leave it there because it adds kind of a dynamic bunch to it right there. Undersuit though, the leather look here, it's very nice. And it doesn't really hold back articulation a lot. But if you do a swivel, you can see how it bunches up and it kind of wants to pull. But it doesn't feel like it's tearing when you try to do some articulation. My problem comes in with everything as a whole when you're trying to pose it. Standing, getting the robes right. There's too much going on, and I'm not used to that. I'm not used to hot toys. I'm not used to clothes on my action figures. That's a learning curve that I have to catch up on at some point if I want to display these. Add-on pieces are nice. The top of the boots are separate from the bottom of the boots, and that'll come in here in a minute when we go through articulation. My big thing is the gap between the belt and the cod piece. You can close it. You can make the belt go down, and it looks okay, but I wish that these were attached somehow to keep it together. But this is a plastic piece. It goes around. It's got a strap around back. You'll never see it. And this free floats. The belt also free floats. As is, when you're messing around with it, this rides up. Now the articulation is very, very interesting. The neck It has a ball, but it's down in the body. There's nothing above that. In fact, when this first happened, it scared the hell out of me because I didn't know what happened. There's a ball way down in there, and that plugs into there, and that's where you get all the movement, is way down at the bottom. So it's kind of hindered because of the size of this hole. You snap it back together, and you can get some side to side. Not really a lot of forward, a little bit of back. A lot of up and down, though, is taken care of in the torso. You can crunch, you can go back, you got some side, you got some side. The shoulders seem to be a hinge and swivel, and the shoulder pad here is actually on a hinge hooked to the upper torso armor. Hinge all the way up, swivels around. You're not going to get much higher than this, though. That's when it starts pulling at the actual suit underneath. Swivel at the bicep. I don't know exactly what kind of articulation is under here, but that's not bad at all for a figure with some fake leather over it. Get down to the wrist, and it is actually a kind of a figure arch joint. It's a ball joint, swivel on top and bottom. You can set the wrist to hinge either side to side or up and down, and then there's swivel there. I went over the torso already. I'm not sure if there's a waist. It doesn't feel like there's one down there, but it turns at the torso. The hips, you can get out to here. Again, that's pretty impressive for having this suit over the figure. Forward, not bad at all. Back, there is a swivel there. The knees only go back about 90, but it has the suit. It has this plastic boot piece kicking into the back of the knee. Yeah, just a lot going on there. So you can kind of force it to about right there. And then the ankle is like the wrist. You can set that to go forward and back, and you get a little bit more movement if you pull the boot top up. A little bit of side to side, or you can set it to go side to side, and then there's swivel, which is where my problem comes in, both in the foot and the hand. And that's that the swivels are kind of loose. It almost feels like they're just there. And the hand isn't so bad until you get the lightsaber in it, but then it just droops off down. And then there's the toe joint. I kind of have a problem with this because, yeah, the toe joint is there, but you can't get the toe joint flat because the foot coming through here sticks out here whenever you bend the toe joint. So basically, that's pretty useless right there. For accessories, he comes with a lightsaber hilt, no blade. There's not even a hole for a blade in it. It's just for him holding before he actually ignites it. And then he comes with the lightsaber with the blade. This looks good, but it is a little bit heavy. Like I said, yeah. You can kind of pull the glove top down, and it kind of wants to hold it, but do any moving around, it just droops over. And also, because of the grip, unless you get right exactly on the ignition, he holds it, but it wants to fall forward like this. And then we get to the hands. On the figure, you get one grip hand and one kind of join me or using the force hand for the left. But in the package, you also get two relaxed hands that come with extra glove tops for some reason. And as you can see, the glove tops came with the figure, but the extra glove tops, they just seem a little bit thinner or shorter, or I don't know what is actually going on there. On top of that, the hands are an absolute bear to get off. You can't hardly pull them off without, well, of course it does it this time. But the first couple of times I tried to pull it out, the ball came out of the arm. And then putting the relaxed hand on there, oh man, you're pushing from the elbow, but this damn glove top keeps wanting to slip around, get in the way, pop off. So it's a little bit frustrating, and I'm going to have to wallow out the hole here or something to make it a little bit bigger, to make it easier to go on there. But will that loosen up the swivel like it does with the grip hand? Probably. I don't know. I don't have anything to really compare it to, but he stands at almost exactly 12 inches tall, which if they are an 11-inch kind of scale, 12 inches would be right for Darth Vader. So at the end of the day, I feel like this has the potential to be a fun figure. All the articulation is there. All the elements are there. It just needs some engineering tweaks, I think. Mostly in the articulation of the extremities. What gets me the most are the hands and the feet. They're just hard to manipulate and stay in position. They're loose. Getting him to stand can be a chore. And if I was really getting down and nitpicking, which I am a little bit, I would put some articulation up at the other end of the neck. Give it some extra movement up there, just to give it that extra little kick. But having already messed with Leia and knowing how awesome she is, which she could use a little bit more tweaks too. I didn't do a full-on review. I just kind of messed with the figure as I was over at his house. I wanted to do Leia first since I had some experience with that, but it's it kind of feels like it's too soon. I feel like people would think that I was exploiting the situation by jumping up in scale and reviewing a Leia, like that was the reason I got these. But I didn't. Because of her coolness, I wanted to try out the rest of them. I thought I'd do it on camera. I haven't dug into her yet. But as far as this Vader goes, he looks great on the shelf. Once you get that position, you're going to want to leave him in that position. Or at least I am. I'm going to pick a position, leave them on the shelf, and try not to mess with them too much, because I've had to pick them up twice during this whole outro thing. If nothing else, include a stand. If it's a premium format figure, put a base on it, and then have a bar coming up to at least hold it up. But yeah, figure, fun to look at, not so great to play with. It could be. It's almost there. It's this close, but not quite. So if you like this review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.